Hmm? Ironhide's back. But they shrunk him. Hello everybody, Sparkster1701 here. We're going to kick off another Studio Series month by taking a look at a somewhat newly released figure. We have a core class version of Ironhide from the 1986 animated film. And of course, several months ago, I did a review of the version of Ratchet that was done like this, and I had said that we would likely get an Ironhide figure. And when I call it, boy do I call it. So we pretty much got him retooled here into Ironhide, which isn't surprising since Ratchet and Ironhide did both have the same body style. So it kind of made sense this was bound to happen sooner or later. And of course we move Ironhide aside and we can see the backdrop that came with him. It features the bridge of the Autobot ship. And of course, if you've seen the movie, you know what's coming with this. If you haven't seen the movie after nearly 40 years, well, I can't help you on that. You're on your own. Alrighty then, here. Since Ironhide's basically just a retool of Ratchet, we can take that as you may, but it definitely means then that he does bear a good resemblance, especially in this small scale, to how he looked in the Generation 1 cartoon. So it is nice that we finally are getting some cartoon-accurate figures. But it also means his weapons are cheap, because he's got the same guns that came with Ratchet. So, speaking of which, we'll take a look at these guns. This is the right gun. I call it the right gun because I put it in his right hand. So I make the posts that are protruding from the side point inward. So then that would make this one the left gun. As you can see, and probably figured out by now, they're molded in red plastic, and then they have this gray they have this silver paint job put on top of them. So do be careful with that. Hopefully this is a better quality silver paint than what we had in the 1980s. Because silver paint back in the 80s, for those of you who weren't around for that, it chipped away very easily. You could basically breathe on it and it would fall off. It's worse on some of the G.I. Joe figures, especially the guys from Cobra, because a lot of them had a silver symbol on their chest. And the value of those figures is greatly dependent on how much of the Cobra symbol is still visible after 40-odd years. Needless to say, finding one with a good silver pattern is very difficult. At any rate here, let's take a look at Ironhide's articulation. Since he's basically a retool of Ratchet, he'll have the same articulation. His head can be turned from side to side. His arms raise up to the side, it's about so far. And you can rotate the arm all the way. You can bend his arm at the elbow a little more than 90 degrees, and he does have a swivel at the bicep. So he would have G.I. Joe's battle grip. You can turn him a little bit at the hip. You have to raise him up, raise up this plate on his back to be able to do it. But it can be done. You can spread his legs apart into a full splits. He has a rather slight thigh cut. It's not much, but you do have it. You can raise his leg at the hip 90 degrees, and he can bend his leg at the knee almost 90 degrees. A lot of the paneling gets in the way. But all in all, it's not a bad toy. Okay, let's take a look here. Let's get ready to transform Ironhide. And it is the exact same process that's used for Ratchet. First thing we do is we come up here to his chest, and we're going to unfold out the front windshield so that we can fold his head down. And then we just put the windscreen back where it was. So now it kind of resembles the Generation 1 toy, to be honest with you. And then we'll come around here to the back side, and we're going to fold up the roof of the van so it goes up like so. Take his arms now and raise them up to the side, like so. Then rotate them at the shoulder, so the shoulder goes forward, and it puts his hands upside down. Now once you've done that, then turn the arms at the bicep, so that this hole here and this post here are facing you. Then that way you can bring the arms in together and then adjust them at the elbows so that they can be connected at the forearms, just like that. Then we're going to come down here and we'll turn him around at his hip, because that'll put the front bumper into place. And then now you're going to fold his legs up, but you want to fold them from the hip. The hip there detaches a bit and it folds upwards, like so. So fold it from there first, then spread his legs apart into a full splits. Once they're done like that, fold them down, rotate them so they fold downward. You're going to rotate them at the knee, not at the hip. So make sure they stay that way, because you'll need to fold the legs inwards, so they have to be rotated at the knee. And we rotated them the wrong way. Rotate them so that the wheels that you see here on the legs are down. Alright, once we've got that, then you can take these panels where his feet are and fold them up so they'll form the sides of the van. And you just saw their leg came off very easy. Thankfully it's a simple ball joint. There we go, pop it back into place. Then we will fold the legs back. They should connect here at the top relatively easily. And then you got a little side panel that you just fold forward. And they lock into position. And then there you have it. Ironhide becomes a stylized version of a 1980s Nissan Cherry one-box vanette. The precursor to the modern minivan. And of course, you can also store the guns. You've got little holes here on the sides, and that's where the horizontal pins for his guns connect. So just plug those in, and now you have an attack van. Something I'm sure many of the soccer moms out there in the world would love to have. Especially when they're 5 minutes late for the game. And of course, since he's a wheeled toy, how well does he roll? Rolls fairly okay. This isn't the best table for rolling toys on, but what can we say? It works. Now we get to my thoughts on it. I do like seeing many of these figures get released in the core class. I mean, the core class, it's not anything really to write home about, but their small size means they don't take up a whole lot of space on the shelf, and they're reasonably affordable. So they're definitely targeting them to the fans that may not have a whole lot of shelf space to give to these toys or have the budget for them. So it is nice to see that, and they do a decent job with them. I'd complain a little bit about the similarities between Ironhide and Ratchet, but there's no point to it. Both toys have been that way for more years than any of us would probably like to remember, and will probably continue to be that way for more years to come. So, it's a pointless argument, so we won't go into it. But I will say that if you want an Ironhide for your shelf, and you can't afford the bigger one, this is probably the one for you. At any rate, that's my review of the Studio 86 series version of Ironhide, core class size. I hope you all enjoyed it. And please do remember that if you like the content we show here on this channel, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. This is Sparkster1701 saying I will catch you all later.